OCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Sometimes some of the children's books are the most profound have some of the most profound messages ever. I think we have one right here. It's called Livi and Grace. It is a children's book, and it's written by Jennifer Lynch. Let me tell you a little bit about Jennifer. She's on the phone, but I want to read to you from Amazon. It says, Jennifer lives with the real Livi and Grace in Austin, Texas, and you'll find out in a second who Livi and Grace are. A former teacher, Jennifer currently volunteers as an advocate for abused and at-risk children and is the creator of the You Are Good Angel Wing t-shirts and stationery line. Jennifer was inspired to write Livi and Grace by the many wonderful children she has worked with over the years. In her bio, it also says she serves as a guardian ad litem, and we've had guardian ad litem folks in this studio, and the work that they do is so amazing that we have people. There was a story this morning about a young girl working at Universal Studios who could probably be a future guardian ad litem person because she noticed a 9-year-old boy just throwing a tantrum. He has autism and just couldn't get over the fact that the Spider-Man ride was closed down, and she laid down on the ground with him and was able to calm him down and make everything good again. Livi and Grace, a children's book in fun rhyme and with colorful illustrations saying that even though siblings are opposite, they still have things in common, illustrated by Missy J. Jennifer Lynch. Good morning, Jennifer. Thank you for being on the show with us.
Oh, good morning, Larry. Thank you so much for having me.
And where are you calling from?
Austin, Texas.
Austin, okay. I made a that's right. I just read that on the thing, didn't I?
Yeah.
So who are Livi and Grace? We'll start there.
Well, great question. They are actually my daughters. This book is based on my daughters and how different they are, but how wonderful they are as well.
Tell me, how old are they? What's the difference in age?
Well, they're 3.5 years apart. The book shows them as young children in elementary school, but they're actually 18 and 15 now.
Oh, okay. And do the personalities that you saw in them when they were little children, do those same personality differences continue at the age they're at now? Actually,
they do. It's so interesting. My oldest daughter, firstborn, Olivia, came out just looking just like me, and very much an old soul, and so easy. I could take her anywhere. People would always say, oh, please bring your child. And it's funny, when I was pregnant with Grace, everyone would ask me, oh my gosh, don't you hope she's just like Olivia? I can't wait to meet her.
Oh no.
And I know. And I would say, well, I hope she's whoever she is. They're not going to be identical. I'm sure of it. And wow, Grace couldn't be more different than Olivia.
So the characters that we get to know through the book are based on the two real children.
It is, yes. Olivia is my old soul, prim and proper, a rule follower. She was so lovely as a child, I would say. When we go into a restaurant, we're going to sit down and we'll order from the menu and yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And then, when we're in the home, be careful going up the stairs, ask me if you need help. And then there's Grace, who would say, why don't we stick our fingers in these light sockets?
Oh, no.
As she's licking her finger to test it. She was so precocious. She wanted more answers about everything. Wanted to dress differently, and she really looked like Rod Stewart's love child forever. Looked nothing like her sister, didn't dress like her sister, wanted to paint and draw like Jackson Pollock, while Olivia was sitting in her room, writing in her journals, writing stories to her dolls, setting up tea parties. But they're both fantastic. Their differences was a blessing to me. It showed me a new perspective.
So
Looking at things in life.
yeah, and being different like that is one thing. Having a loving parent is definitely an important part of this equation. You're definitely a part of them, but some of the children you work with don't necessarily have that, right?
They don't. I've been a CrossFit advocate, a guardian ad litem for a very long time, and majority of my days I spend in court testifying for these children so they don't have to, because they've already come from a pretty rough domestic situation, and we don't want to make it harder on them. But I tell you, they come to peer situations a little more damaged, vulnerable than typical kids.
Mm-hmm. Did being the mother of Livi and Grace help you better relate, I guess, to some of the children you were working with?
Oh, gosh, yes. I think once you have children, there's a maternal instinct that kicks in for most women. And I would look at them, and I loved their differences. And I wanted to foster what was different and protect them and help it grow. But then I realized, after years of working with these kids and counseling them, they would come to me and say, "Why do you like me? Why are you helping me? My parents told me that I was worthless,
oh my gosh,
unlovable, unlikable, ugly." These kids came to me with this horrible, negative
terrible
belief system.
Do you know what, Jennifer? We have in our culture, obviously, we have like storybook tales. I don't mean like your storybook, but we are told that there are no such thing as magic words. But those are magic words. In this case, they're bad magic words, like evil spells. When you tell a child they're no good, they're never going to amount to anything, that's as powerful as telling a child you're the best. You're going to be anything you want to be. It's the difference between the blessing and the curse, and it is a real thing.
Oh, it is. Children believe what you tell them, and you're their parent or their caretaker. They're the most important person in their life, and if you're setting this horrible negative belief system from day one, it's going to be hard to change later.
I was telling you in the intro about a story in the news today about a young woman who works at Universal Studios here in our part of the state, and there was an autistic boy, 9 years old, who was throwing somewhat of a tantrum because Spider-Man wasn't working or something. And the young woman, she knew what to do. She laid down on the ground right next to the boy, and she told him it's okay. Her words became her tools. She was able to, simply with words and showing compassion, defuse the situation.
Well, what an amazing woman. I don't know her background or her education, but the innate quality that she saw him and said, I'm going to get on his level. I'm going to let him know that I hear him, I feel him, and that we can solve this together. I mean, she supported him and did it, and she just knew what would work for him. So kudos to her. Wow.
It'll be interesting to hear. Maybe you already have this information. It'll be interesting to hear what kind of comments you have from the different readers you have, and has that happened already? Do the children actually communicate with you? Do you do book signings and speak to some of the children who've read the book?
Oh, I'm just starting book signing. National release for the book tomorrow, but I've had pre-sales, pre-orders. And I tell you, when I do pop into a classroom and read to even kindergartners to fourth graders, and you ask questions about, what did you think about the story? What do you like, dislike? Really, they start off with, oh, I'm like Olivia. Oh, I'm like Grace.
Oh, really?
Oh, my gosh. I love to wear, crazy tutus and heart buns and play with the boys in the playground. They are identifying with even the boys identify with the girls in the book. They're like, oh, I love the playground. Oh, I love the slides. Oh, I would never swing. I'm on the monkey bars or sliding all day. I mean, for them to identify with a character and it's okay, I'm watching them show me who they are and they're proud of it. They want to tell me, they want to go further. They're like, oh, I like the playground, but I also play soccer. Oh, and I'm a good big brother. They just start sharing with me how great they are, all the good qualities. And this is just bringing out so much good in the classroom.
And again, going back to the influence of adults, parents, teachers, and et cetera, I think the message here is hopefully an antidote to the child who has been getting the bad messages, and it's a, I don't know, supplement or a reinforcement to the children who get the good messages.
Oh, I hope so. I hope that, and that's part of why I wrote this book as well. I've been on the intake side, meaning when children are removed from a domestic situation and brought immediately to a treatment facility, emergency respite foster care. These kids come in and they are, where are my parents? Do I have clothes to go to school tomorrow? Is there a book I can read to take me away from this horrible situation tonight? And so I wanted them to have this book, to have something to read that says, you are good, you are okay.
So it sounds like these words never come out of your mouth to your two daughters, or never have when they were younger. You're nothing like your sister. Those words wouldn't come out of your mouth because maybe they are nothing alike, but at the same time, that sounds like a condescending remark.
Yeah. Yeah, what you need to do is focus. Parents and caretakers need to look at their kids, and they're going to show you their uniqueness. And all you have to do is say, wow, I love that you XYZ. Oh, I love that you love painting and hate athletics. Whatever it is, you just foster and praise what they're showing you. Don't compare.
Did you have that as in your childhood? Did you have that?
Yes. My brother and I are very different. And my parents were fantastic about it. They're like, I wanted to play every sport that I could in middle school and high school. And they said, okay, try it. If you don't like it, at least you tried it. And my brother was the one sitting at home making straight A's and could tell you everything about history and
Oh, really?
English. Oh, yes. And I was out there wanting to be cheerleader and play every sport.
And what you just said right there speaks to something that's happening in our country right now, is we have to stop saying because you're a girl you should like these things, and because you're a boy you should like these things. I think you're saying something that's really a wholesome message, that if your little girl wants to play a sport, let her play, right?
Let her try. If she's asking you to try something, let her try, and let it be her decision. Oh, I do not like soccer. I'd much rather play lacrosse. Let them decide.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a push too hard in the other direction. In other words, forcing the little boys to play with Barbie dolls, or forcing the little girls to, want to play with a truck or something. I don't know. Yeah. I can't think of an example. Does that show up in your work with the abused children? Do you see some of those children that have, or is it mostly across the board you'll never amount to anything kind of a experience for them?
Gosh, unfortunately, a lot of times when it is, I have counseling sessions or just time with the kids. A lot of times they'll say, my toys were destroyed in front of me. When I did get something, my mom's boyfriend or my father made me throw it away in the dumpster as punishment. I had a 5-year-old tell me, I've never had a birthday party or a birthday cake. What do you do with a birthday cake?
Oh, wow.
A lot of times they go without.
Wow. That's kind of sad, isn't it? What do you do with a birthday cake?
I know.
Well,
that's a true story.
They don't know what a wish is.
You're exactly right. When I said, well, we'll put candles on it and you make a wish, he looked at me, he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Wow.
They had no wish. They don't know. They don't know what other kids have had, because they've never had.
don't.
And if you haven't
So
had,
true.
how can you experience? How could you share it? How can you enjoy it if it's not there in front of you?
Exactly.
If it's withheld from you because you're not fitting the mold the correct way, so you're not going to get this, or you're not going to get that, or you have to do this, you have to do that, and the children just grow up in a eggshell, basically, and they haven't cracked out of their eggshell to see life, to experience life. And if someone like yourself doesn't step in and help, then that's where I think, in my opinion, that's where society finds all these, for lack of words, delinquents that are out there with an attitude, rather than a positive attitude, just an attitude. They don't know how to act because they've never been taught.
Exactly. It's not been modeled for them, and they walk around with a real negative belief system. I am unlovable. I am unworthy. I've been abandoned, so this is who I am. This is how I live.
And then when they get older and they still have that attitude, and then they have children, wed or unwed, boys or girls, what happens? It's stepped down. No one
That
is
cycle's not broken.
right. No one is born prejudiced. No one is born racist. They are taught those things. They are taught those, I don't want to say values, because those are not values. Those are attitudes to me.
Right.
Those are attitudes.
You're right.
And if they have those type of attitudes, how is society supposed to react to them? To them, it's normal. It's normal to hate. It's normal to whatever. I luckily I don't have that in me. But as we see it in the news, as we see it happening around, and then the shootings, and I wonder why they did that. I wonder. And you're trying to stop this. You're trying to break that cycle. Show what the heck love is, what a caring person is, and they're in shock. They don't know how to react to you. Am I correct?
You are so correct, and I have a great little quick story for you. I'm in court weekly testifying for these kids, and sometimes the abusers are in the courtroom. And I will tell you, years ago, I had a football player-sized gentleman, 6'4", linebacker, and he stopped me as I'm walking out, and he said, "Where were you when I was a little boy, when my dad was doing XYZ to me?" And I looked at him, and I shrank this man down to a 5-year-old little boy, the same age as his child that I'm advocating for. And I looked at him, and I said, "I'm so sorry that you didn't have someone." He said, "Thank you for helping my child. He's the abuser." He said, "I've never seen love like this. You don't know us. You're not a family member. You're a community volunteer, and you are taking care of my child. Thank you."
Oh, wow. And he was abusing his own child, and he said that to you?
Yes, he was. It was his court session right after my testimony.
So he was an illustration of what we hear all the time, that abusers usually were also abused when they were younger.
Yes.
Now,
No one broke the cycle. He was just reliving how he was raised.
Yeah.
now, if you can, is there an ending to this story?
Yes, I advocated for court-ordered services for this man. The mother was in jail. She actually did more of the physical abuse. He was more neglectful, but allowed it to happen. So he's still in trouble. But I ordered court-ordered services, parenting classes, marital classes if they were to remain married. And mother had to take classes while in jail. And she actually thanked me. He was like, "No,
Is
I've
there
never
another
taken
chapter
a
to
class."
this? Is there another chapter to this story, or is that as far as it goes right now? No. What happened? Do you know what happened to this individual, or is it still a in progress?
Well, as far as I know, they've not been referred back to Child Protective Services or court since then, and I believe family reunification happened, and they were ordered more services throughout the next 2 years. So far, so good.
Okay, good. It's not a lost cause then.
No.
I like that insight into who you are, and a lot of that plays a role in the book that you chose to write. I found a picture on Amazon. It looks like you and the real Olivia and Grace.
Yes.
Oh.
And they were little ones.
They were little, baby.
So the illustrator Missy Gray, she sort of captured the essence of them, didn't she?
She's unbelievable. She is one of the most talented artists I've ever met.
So
great job.
Tell us the story in the book. I want to be sure we're fair to the book. It sounds like you've got so much we could talk about, but we haven't really talked about the book a whole lot.
Well, I used to journal about my daughters, and I noticed that they were so different. They learned differently. They reached those milestones differently. They slept differently, ate differently, and I would look at that, and then I would look at my notes from the Costa kids, and I would look at how they would tell me, well, I'm not good because I'm different than my brother, I'm different than these peers. But then I'd look back at my notes about my children, and I was praising this in my private journal, my mom journal. And I thought, my girls are different. These kids are different. Why not write a book that celebrates differences, uniqueness, and let's share that with these young children.
So take us into the book, if you could. What do we see and learn about that are different?
Well, both girls love and accept each other, and that it's okay to be opposite and different. And then when you flip through the book, it'll show you how different their closets are, how differently they dress, how different their art is, their perspectives on what art is, how they play in the rain. One is open and free and barefoot and uncovered, and the other is covered with boots and umbrellas and rain jackets. When they throw a party, it's, let's eat the desserts on the way there, and the other one's like, no, we wait until the guests arrive.
Yeah, I think I know who says what. I think based on what you told us, I think I know which one is Livi and which one is Grace.
Exactly.
How old are they now?
They're 18 and 15. Yeah.
How do they like the book? How did they like being featured in the book?
They love it. They actually love it. They've had some comments about, I don't know if I'd wear a headband while I was playing volleyball, but I'm like, look, you did. You may not now, but you did back then. I mean, but overall, they absolutely love it.
Yeah.
So it's not that far away. I know you don't want to think about it, but not too far away before you're grandma. Are you as grandma, you gonna read this book to them, to the grandchildren? I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's fantastic. It's a keepsake kind of thing.
It is, and I hope that when these young children read through it, that they'll see that Livi and Grace, as they flip through the book, have friends of different ages, different gender, different color, and that they love who they are, but they also love who everyone else is.
So do you let your daughters autograph the book too?
I do. We've had some requests already, and they love autographing the book.
I see a screenplay in your future.
Or a cartoon or something, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, cartoon, yeah, that's cool.
Jennifer, thank you for the work you've chosen to do. You're making the world a better place by doing that, and thank you for writing this book and coming on the air to talk about it. I think it's really charming.
Oh, well, thank you for your kind words, and I sure appreciate the time today, you guys.
I found it on Amazon. Real quick question, is there a website that you have?
Yes, JenniferLynchBooks.com.
Okay.
And as you said, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target.com.
Very good. Jennifer, good luck with everything. Thank you for being on the show.
Oh, thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. We'll
Take
be
care now.
right back.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
Fox News, I'm Lillian Wu. He helped bring down Richard Nixon, now the star Watergate accuser, set to be the first witness in House Democrats' so-called presidential obstruction hearings. And the Trump administration's taking aim.
Can't we find somebody who's not disgraced, disbarred, and didn't go to jail for obstruction of justice?